Have you ever watched a mountain during a storm? The rain lashes its face. The wind tears at its trees. Lightning cracks the sky above its peak, and thunder rolls through its valleys like the voice of an angry god. The whole world around the mountain is chaos, howling, breaking, bending, running for shelter. And the mountain does not move. It does not flinch. It does not lean away from the wind. It does not argue with the thunder or try to dodge the rain. It simply stands there, the way it has stood for 10,000 years, rooted in something so deep that no storm can reach it. Tonight, 7 ancient stories will show you what it means to be that mountain. Not hard, not stubborn, not refusing to feel, just rooted, just still, just so deeply planted in who you are that the storms of the world pass through you like wine through a canyon, loud for a moment, then gone. Close your eyes. Let your body grow heavy. One breath in and one long breath out. You are here. You are still. Let the first story come to you now. There was a Zen master in China named Qingyuan Weixin who lived during the Tang Dynasty in a monastery high in the mountains of Jiangxi province. He was not famous for dramatic teachings or clever riddles. He was famous for one thing he said, late in his life, to a student who asked him what enlightenment looked like. Qingyuan thought for a while. Then he said, "Before I studied Zen, mountains were mountains and rivers were rivers. After I studied Zen for some time, mountains were no longer mountains and rivers were no longer rivers. But now, after years of practice, mountains are once again mountains and rivers are once again rivers." The student frowned. "That sounds like you ended up exactly where you started," he said. "What was the point of all those years of study?" Qingyuan smiled, the way the very old smile at the very young. "Let me tell you what happened," he said. "When I was young, the world was simple. A mountain was a mountain. A bowl of rice was a bowl of rice. A cold morning was a cold morning. I did not think about these things. I just lived among them, the way a fish lives in water without knowing what water is. Then I began to study, and the more I learned, the more complicated everything became. A mountain was no longer a mountain. It was a collection of stones and soil and roots. It was an illusion, a temporary arrangement of matter that would erode and vanish in a million years. It was a symbol, a metaphor, a concept. I could no longer simply look at a mountain and feel its presence. I had to analyze it, dissect it, understand it. And in the understanding, I lost something. I lost the mountain itself." He paused. The wind stirred the pine trees outside the window. Somewhere in the valley, a temple bell rang, faint and clear. But then, he continued, after many years, something shifted. I stopped trying to understand the mountain. I stopped analyzing and dissecting. I let the mountain be a mountain again. And when I did, I saw it more clearly than I ever had before. Not because I knew more, but because I had finally stopped putting my thoughts between myself and the thing itself. The mountain I see now is the same mountain I saw as a boy, but I am not the same person, and that is the difference. The mountain has not changed. I have. I walked a great circle and came home. And home is more beautiful than I remembered because now I know what it cost to find it. The student sat quietly for a long time after that. You have walked your own great circle today. You have analyzed and planned and worried and understood. Your mind has been busy turning mountains into problems and rivers into schedules. But here, in the dark, you can let the mountain be a mountain again. You can let the bed be a bed. You can let the night be the night. No analysis, no understanding required. Just this simple, ancient experience of lying down and breathing and being held by the dark. The mountain is a mountain. You are you, and that is enough. Breathe in slowly and breathe out. Let your jaw soften. Let your forehead smooth. You're coming home to something simple. Let the next story arrive like a breeze from a high peak. In the mountains of eastern China, during the Tang Dynasty, there lived a poet who called himself Hans Han, Coal Mountain. That was not his real name. No one knew his real name. He had given it up, along with everything else, when he walked away from the world and climbed into the mountains to live alone. He had been someone once. The old stories disagree about who. Some say he was a government official who grew tired of politics. Some say he was a scholar who failed his exams and decided that the questions had been wrong all along. Some say he was simply a man who woke up one morning, looked at his life, the duties, the ambitions, the endless striving, and thought, none of this is mine. Whatever he had been, he left it all behind. He walked into the Tian'ai Mountains with nothing but the clothes on his back, and he found a cave on a cold peak, and he stayed. He lived on wild roots and rainwater. He wore clothes made of birch bark. His hair grew long and tangled. He looked, by all accounts, like a madman, thin, dirty, laughing at nothing, talking to rocks and trees. But he also wrote poems, hundreds of them. He scratched them on cliff faces and tree trunks and the walls of his cave, using charcoal or sharp stone. And the poems were extraordinary. They were about the mountain, the fog in the mornings, the silence of the pines, the way the moon looked from the peak on a winter night. They were about loneliness, but not the sad kind, the kind that feels like freedom, the kind that comes when you finally stop performing for an audience that was never really watching. One poem has survived for over 1,000 years. He scratched it on a rock face near his cave, and monks found it decades after he had disappeared. People asked the way to Coal Mountain. Coal Mountain has no through trail. In summer, the ice does not melt. The sun comes out, but the fog is so thick you cannot see. How did I get here? My mind and yours are not the same. If your mind were like mine, you would be here already. The government sent officials to find him once. They had heard about the poems, and they wanted to bring the poet back to the capital to honor him, to give him a title and a salary and a silk robe. They climbed the mountain with their scrolls and their seals and their important expressions. When they found Hans Han, he was sitting on a rock, eating a pine nut. He looked at them and laughed. Then he stood up and walked into a crack in the cliff face, and the crack closed behind him, and he was never seen again. The officials stood on a mountain with their mouths open and their seals dangling from their belts, and they went home empty-handed. Whether the story is literally true does not matter. What matters is what it teaches, that there is a place inside you where the world cannot follow. A cold, clear peak where the fog is too thick for ambition and the ice does not melt even in summer. A place where you do not need a title or a salary or anyone's approval. Where you can sit on a rock and eat a pine nut and laugh at the officials climbing up the trail with their important faces. You do not have to climb a mountain to get there. You're already there in a way right now, lying in the dark with no title, no role, no performance required. Just you and the silence and the slow rhythm of your breathing. This bed is your coal mountain. This night is your cave. And no one is coming to find you here. Breathe in the cold, clean air of the peak and breathe out, feeling the fog settle around you, soft and quiet. Let your shoulders drop. Let your arms grow heavy. The officials have gone home. You can rest. Let the next story come to you through the mist. There's an old story from Japan, from the Meiji era, about a Zen master named Shaku-son who lived in a monastery near the coast. He was a small man, thin and weathered, with hands that looked like they had been carved from driftwood. He spoke rarely, and when he did, his voice was so quiet that people had to lean in to hear him. One autumn, a typhoon struck the coast. The wind screamed through the monastery like a living thing, tearing tiles from the roof, snapping branches, hurling rain sideways through the corridors. The monks huddled in the main hall, pressing against the walls, flinching at every crack of thunder. Some of them were praying, some were crying. The youngest monks clutched each other's robes and stared at the ceiling, waiting for it to fall. Shakuson was not in the hall. One of the senior monks realized this and went looking for him, fighting his way through the wind, calling out over the roar of the storm. He found the old master outside, in the garden, sitting on a stone bench in the middle of the typhoon. The rain was hammering his face. His robes were soaked through, plastered against his thin body. The wind tore at his sleeves and whipped his hair across his eyes. Branches and leaves flew past him. A clay pot shattered against the wall 2 feet from his head. And he sat there, perfectly still, his eyes half closed, his hands resting on his knees. Not meditating exactly, just sitting, the way a mountain sits in a storm. Not resisting the wind, not pretending it was not there, just not moving. The senior monk shouted over the wind, "Master, please come inside. The roof may collapse. It is not safe here." Shakuson opened his eyes. He looked at the monk with an expression that was not calm, exactly, but something deeper than calm, something closer to recognition, as if the storm were an old friend he had been expecting. "The storm is outside," he said simply, "and inside. What difference does it make where my body sits? If I'm still inside, I am still everywhere." Then he closed his eyes again. The typhoon passed. The monastery lost half its roof. Trees were down in the garden. Broken tiles lay everywhere like scattered teeth. But the stone bench was untouched, and Shakuson was untouched. He stood up when the rain stopped, wrung out his sleeves, and walked inside to help the monks clean up, as if nothing unusual had happened. Later, a student asked him, "Were you not afraid?" The master considered this. The wind was strong, he said. The rain was cold. My body felt them. My body did not enjoy them. But fear is what happens when you add a story to the wind. The wind tells no story. It simply blows. I did not add a story. So there was wind and cold and rain, but there was no fear. You have your own typhoons. The storms of worry, of doubt, of the mind that will not stop spinning. They howl through you at night, rattling the shutters of your thoughts, tearing at the roof of your composure. And the instinct is to huddle, to flinch, to fight the wind or run from it. But the master sat still, not because the storm was not real. It was real. The tiles were breaking. The trees were falling. It was real, and it was loud, and it was cold. He sat still because the storm was not him. It was happening around him and even through him, but it was not him. He was the bench. He was the mountain beneath the bench. He was the thing that does not move. Tonight, whatever storms are still blowing through your mind, let them blow. Do not fight them. Do not run. Just sit on your stone bench in the middle of it all and let the wind pass through you. It will pass. It always passes, and you will still be here when it does. Breathe in, steady, unmoved, and breathe out, letting the wind carry your breath away without following it. Feel your neck release. Feel your chest grow quiet. The storm is outside. You are inside, and inside it is still. Let the next story find you in the stillness. Long ago, in the mountains of central China, there lived an old monk in a hermitage so high and so remote that the nearest village was a full day's walk down the mountain. The path was steep and narrow, winding through bamboo groves and across rocky streams. and in winter it disappeared entirely under snow. The monk's name was Daoji, and he had lived on the mountain for 37 years. He grew his own vegetables in a small garden behind the hermitage. He drew his water from a spring that seeped out of the rock face. He owned almost nothing: a robe, a bowl, a blanket, a broom. His hermitage was 3 walls and a roof, open on one side to the valley below, so that on clear days he could see all the way to the river, and on cloudy days he sat inside a cloud. Word of Daoji reached the emperor. This was a problem. The emperor was a devout Buddhist, and he collected wise monks the way other emperors collected jade or horses. He sent a delegation up the mountain, 3 officials in silk robes, a secretary with a scroll, and 4 soldiers to carry gifts: a bolt of golden silk, a jade rosary, a lacquer writing desk, and a formal invitation to serve as the imperial advisor on matters of the spirit. They climbed for a full day. They arrived at the hermitage sweating and out of breath, their silk robes torn by brambles, their shoes caked with mud. They found Daoji sitting in his open doorway, watching a hawk circle above the valley. The lead official unrolled his scroll and read the imperial invitation in a grand voice. The emperor requests your presence at the capital. You will live in a palace. You will eat at the imperial table. You will advise the Son of Heaven on all matters of wisdom and virtue. This is a great honor. Daoji listened politely. He looked at the golden silk, the jade rosary, the lacquer desk. He looked at the officials with their torn robes and muddy shoes and exhausted faces. Then he looked out at the valley, the hawk still circling, the bamboo bending in the wind, the clouds drifting below his feet. Please thank the emperor, he said. Tell him that the mountain clouds are my silk robe. The spring water is my tea. The hawk is my advisor, and the wind is my only emperor. I have everything I need. I would not trade this view for every palace in the world. The officials were stunned. No one refused the emperor. It was not done. One of them tried again. But master, you will have influence. You will shape the destiny of the empire. Your wisdom will reach millions. Daoji smiled gently. My wisdom, he said, is that I know where I belong. And I belong here. A tree that is transplanted to richer soil sometimes dies, not because the soil is poor, but because its roots were already deep. My roots are in this mountain. If you pull me out, I will not survive the journey. He offered them tea, plain mountain water, heated over a small fire. They drank it in silence. Then they gathered their gifts and walked back down the mountain, and Daoji returned to watching the hawk. There is a quiet power in knowing where you belong, not where the world tells you that you should be, not where the promotion leads, or the ambition points, or the voice of comparison whispers, but where your roots are, where the water tastes right, where the view, even on cloudy days, is exactly the view you need. Tonight, you are not in a palace. You are not performing for an emperor. You are in your bed, in your room, in your life. And this is where you belong, not because it is perfect, but because your roots are here. Your springs are here. Your hawks are circling above your own particular valley, and the clouds are drifting through your own particular view. And that is enough. That has always been enough. Breathe in, tasting the clean water of your own mountain, and breathe out, watching the hawks circle, slow and wide. Let your belly soften. Let your hips sink deeper. Your roots are deep. Nothing can pull you out tonight. Let the next story settle over you like mountain fog. There is a story told in the monasteries of Tibet about a mountain and the wind. The wind, they say, was the proudest force in the world. It had bent forests. It had raised waves as tall as temples. It had scattered armies and toppled walls and carried ships across oceans. Nothing in the world could stand against it. Nothing could resist. One day, the wind came to a mountain. It was an enormous mountain, snow-capped and gray, rising out of the plain like a fist of stone pushed up from the center of the earth. The wind had never paid it much attention before. Mountains were large but dull. They did not run. They did not fight. They just stood there year after year, doing nothing at all. But on this particular day, the wind was in a mood to prove something. It gathered itself. It pulled in air from across the entire plain, swelling and growing until it was the largest wind that had ever blown. And it threw itself against the mountain. The mountain did not move. The wind screamed through the passes and howled over the ridges. It tore snow from the peak and hurled it into the sky. It ripped bushes from the slopes and sent rocks tumbling down the cliffs. For 3 days and 3 nights, the wind raged against the mountain, pouring every ounce of its strength into one enormous effort to push the mountain, to make it lean, to make it shift, to make it acknowledge, even slightly, that the wind existed. On the 4th morning, the wind was exhausted. It had spent everything it had. It lay in the valley at the foot of the mountain, thin and wheezing, barely strong enough to move a blade of grass. It looked up at the mountain. The mountain was exactly where it had always been. The snow on its peak had been replaced overnight. New bushes were already sprouting on the slopes. The rocks that had fallen had simply become part of the valley floor. Nothing had changed. Nothing at all. The wind asked, in a voice that was barely a whisper, "How? How can you not move? I have moved everything in the world. I have bent the tallest trees. I have pushed the ocean itself. Why can you not be moved?" The mountain was quiet for a long time. Then it said, in a voice so deep and slow that it sounded like the earth itself breathing, "You move things that resist you. The trees push back against you, and so you can push them down. The waves fight you, and so you can scatter them. But I do not resist you. I do not push back. I do not fight. You blow through me, and around me, and over me, and I let you. I have no argument with you. I have nothing to prove. And because I do not resist, you have nothing to push against. You cannot move what does not fight you." The wind thought about this for a very long time, and then it understood. It had been powerful its whole life, but its power only worked against things that pushed back, against something that simply stood still, that simply existed without resistance, without argument, without the need to win. Against that, the wind had no power at all. This is the deepest secret of the mountain. It is not that it is harder than the wind. Stone is not harder than air. It is that the mountain does not fight. It does not clench. It does not brace itself or grit its teeth or summon its strength. It simply stands, and in that standing, in that absolute refusal to struggle, it becomes immovable. You do not need to fight your thoughts tonight. You do not need to resist the worries or push back against the anxieties or win the argument with a voice in your head that keeps replaying the day. Those are wins. They are strong, and they are loud, and they feel like they could move the world. But you're not a tree that can be bent or a wave that can be scattered. You are a mountain. And if you simply stop resisting, if you let the wind blow through you without fighting it, without arguing with it, without trying to make it stop, it will exhaust itself. It always does. And you will still be here unchanged when it is gone. Breathe in unmoved and breathe out, letting the wind pass through you, carrying nothing away. Your whole body is heavy now, planted, rooted. You are stone and soil and deep, quiet earth. The wind has nothing to push against. Let the next story come to you like an echo from a distant peak. In a village in the mountains of Korea, there was an old woman named Yoonji who made pottery. She had been making pottery for so long that no one in the village could remember a time before her kiln was burning. Her hands were thick and cracked, stained permanently with the gray-brown color of mountain clay. Her fingernails were always caked with it. Even her wrinkles seemed to follow the same spiraling pattern as her bowls. Yoonji's pottery was simple. She made bowls, mostly, and cups, and sometimes a jar for storing rice or pickled vegetables. Nothing elaborate, nothing decorated. Her bowls were not painted or glazed in bright colors. They were the color of the mountain, gray and brown, and the deep, earthy red of iron-rich clay. They were not perfectly round. If you looked closely, you could see the slight wobble where her thumb had pressed, the faint ridges where her fingers had pulled the clay upward on the wheel. And yet, people came from far away to buy Yoonji's bowls. Potters from Seoul, where factories made thousands of perfect, identical bowls every day, would travel for hours to buy a single bowl from this old woman in the mountains. Tea masters paid enormous sums for her cups. A famous collector once offered to buy her entire workshop, kiln, and all. A young potter from the city came to study with her once. He spent a week in her workshop, watching her work. On his last day, he asked the question that had been bothering him all week. "Your bowls are not perfect," he said carefully. "They're not even, not symmetrical, not smooth." In the city, bowls like these would be rejected by the factory. What makes them so valuable? Yoonji did not look up from her wheel. She was pulling a new bowl upward, her wet hands guiding the clay with the patience of a river shaping a stone. "You are right," she said. "They're not perfect, and that is what makes them alive. A perfect bowl has nothing left to say. It is finished, complete, closed. But a bowl with a wobble, a bowl with a mark of a thumb, a fingerprint a slight lean to one side, that bowl is still speaking. It says, 'A human made me. A hand touched me. I am not a machine's dream of a bowl. I am a bowl born from the earth, shaped by someone who was alive while she shaped me, someone whose hands were tired, whose back was sore, whose mind was wandering to the mountain or the evening meal or the sound of rain on the roof.'" She lifted the finished bowl off the wheel and held it up. It was lopsided. One side was slightly thicker than the other. It was not beautiful in any way the young potter had been trained to recognize. "This bowl is like you," Yoonji said. "Not perfect, not symmetrical, not what the world expects, but real. And real things last. Perfect things crack because perfection is brittle. But something with a wobble, something that admits it was made by imperfect hands in an imperfect world, that thing can hold rice and tea and water and sorrow and joy for 100 years without breaking, because it was never pretending to be something it was not." The young potter looked at the bowl in her hands, and for the first time he did not see a flaw. He saw a fingerprint. He saw life. He saw the mountain and the clay and the old woman's hands and the rain on the roof, all pressed into one simple, lopsided, beautiful thing. You're not a perfect bowl. You never were. You have wobbles and thumbprints and places where you lean a little to one side. You have cracks that you have tried to hide in edges that are not as smooth as you wish they were. And tonight, lying here in the dark, you might be thinking about those imperfections, the things you said wrong today, the things you did not do, the ways you fell short of the person you think you were supposed to be. But you're mountain clay. You were shaped by real hands, your own hands, the hands of everyone who has loved you, the hands of time and weather and experience. And the wobble is not a flaw. It is your fingerprint. It is the proof that you are real, that you are alive, that you are not a machine's dream of a person, but a person, whole and imperfect and irreplaceable. Breathe in, feeling the weight of good clay, and breathe out, letting the wool slow down. Your hands can rest. Your back can rest. The bowl is made. The kiln is warm. The rain is on the roof. Let the last story come to you now from the very top of the mountain. At the summit of a tall mountain in central Japan, there was a monastery. It was not much to look at, a few wooden buildings with thatched roofs, a stone courtyard, a well, and a single cherry tree that bloomed for exactly 3 days each spring and then dropped its petals all at once like a sigh. The monastery was famous for one thing: the view. From the courtyard, on a clear day, you could see in every direction for 100 miles. Mountains and valleys and rivers and forests spread out below like a painting on silk. The distant sea glinted like a mirror. Villages appeared as clusters of tiny brown dots. Roads wound through the landscape like threads. And above it all, the sky, vast, open, holding everything without effort. People climbed the mountain to see this view. It took 2 days to reach the summit, and the path was steep and exhausting. Pilgrims arrived gasping, sunburned, their legs shaking, their water bottles empty. They stumbled into the courtyard, looked out, and stood there, silent for a long time. But the strangest thing about the monastery was its head monk. His name was Shu, and he was very old. So old that the younger monks joked that he had been part of the original construction. He was thin and slow and almost completely blind. His eyes were clouded, 2 pale moons behind wrinkled lids. He could see shapes, perhaps, and the difference between light and dark, but not much more. And yet, every morning, Shu walked to the eastern edge of the courtyard and sat facing the view he could not see. He sat there for 1 hour every single morning, rain or shine, summer or winter, for as many years as anyone could remember. A young pilgrim, new to the monastery, asked him about this one morning. She sat beside him on the stone wall and looked out at the vast panorama, the mountains fading into blue distance, the rivers catching the first light, the clouds piling up on the horizon like white mountains of their own. "Master," she said, "forgive me for asking, but you cannot see the view. Why do you come here every morning?" Shu smiled. His face creased into 1,000 tiny lines, like a map of a country no one had ever visited. "When I was young," he said, "I came to this mountain because of the view. I wanted to see everything. I wanted to stand above the world and take it all in. Every mountain, every river, every village, every road. I thought that if I could see far enough, I would understand something important. I thought that clarity came from seeing more." He paused. The wind moved through the cherry tree, which was bare now, its branches like dark brushstrokes against the pale sky. And for many years, I did see far. I saw things most people never see. I saw storms forming on the horizon before anyone in the valley knew they were coming. I saw the snow melting on the far peaks, announcing spring. I saw the moon rise over the sea, so large and golden that it looked like a door opening into another world. But then my eyes began to fail. Slowly, year by year, the view grew dimmer. The distant mountains blurred, then disappeared. The rivers became smudges. The villages vanished. And one morning, I sat here and realized that I could not see the view at all. He turned toward the young woman, and even though his eyes could not focus on her, she felt seen in a way she had never felt before. And that morning, he said, I understood what I had come here to learn. The view was never out there. The mountains, the rivers, the sky, they were always inside me. I had been looking at them for so many years that they had become part of me, the way the mountain becomes part of the soil at its feet. I do not need to see them anymore. I am them, and they are me. He smiled again. I come here every morning, he said, not to look at the view. I come here to be the view, to sit at the edge and let the whole world, the world I can no longer see but can still feel in every cell of my body, sit with me. That is why blind men climb mountains, not to see what is on top, but to remember what was always inside. The young woman sat with him in silence for a long time. The wind blew. The clouds moved. The world turned beneath them, vast and beautiful and completely indifferent to whether anyone was watching. You are at the summit now, not a mountain, but of your day. You have climbed the long path, the morning, the afternoon, the evening, the 1,000 small steps that brought you here to this bed, this dark, this quiet. And the view from here is not outside the window. It is inside you. Every moment of this day, every face you saw, every word you heard, every feeling that passed through you. It is all there, settled inside you like soil on a mountain, becoming part of the landscape that you are. You do not need to look at any of it tonight. You do not need to review it or understand it or sort it into categories. It is simply there, part of you, and it will still be there in the morning when you open your eyes and see the world again. Breathe in slowly the way dawn reaches a summit, and breathe out the way evening settles into a valley. The 7 stories have ended now, dear friend. 7 whispers from a mountain. Qingyuan showed you that the longest journey brings you home, that mountains are mountains and you are you, and the simplest truth is the deepest. Han showed you that there is a cold, clear peak inside you where no one can follow, a place of perfect freedom, where no title is needed and no approval required. Shaka Son showed you that the storm is real, but it is not you, that you can sit in the middle of the wind and rain and not be moved because stillness is not outside. It is inside. The hermit Daoji showed you that knowing where you belong is the quietest kind of strength, that your roots are already deep and no emperor's invitation can improve on the view from your own mountain. The wind and the mountain showed you the deepest secret of all, that what does not resist cannot be moved, that your power tonight is not in fighting your thoughts, but in letting them pass through you like wine through a canyon. The potter Yunji showed you that your wobbles are not flaws, that the thumbprint, the lean, the imperfection is what makes you real, and real things last longer than perfect things ever could. And the blind monk Teshu showed you that the view you're looking for is already inside you, that you do not need to see anything tonight because everything you have ever seen is already part of the mountain that you are. You are that mountain now, heavy rooted still. The storms of the day have passed. The wind has exhausted itself. The clouds are drifting through your valleys, slow and soft, and the moon is rising over your peak, quiet and full. Your breath is slowing, each inhale deeper, each exhale longer. You are sinking into the earth the way mountains sink, slowly, over centuries, settling deeper into the ground that holds them. There is nowhere to go. There is nothing to move toward. You are already where everything comes to rest. Let your feet be the base of the mountain, heavy and warm. Let your legs be the slopes, sinking into the mattress. Let your belly be the valley, soft and still. Let your chest be the high meadow, rising and falling with each slow breath. Let your head be the peak, quiet, above the clouds, above the noise, above everything. You are the mountain. The mountain does not move, and you do not need to move tonight. Sleep now. Sleep the way mountains sleep, deep unhurried, ancient. Let the snow settle on your peak. Let the fog fill your valleys. Let the stars will slowly above you, the way they have wheeled for 10,000 years, while the mountains stand still and the world turns and everything is exactly where it belongs. Good night, dear friend. Good night. The mountain holds you. The mountain holds you, and you do not need to move.